All right, everyone. Welcome to the Joseph Vore Podcast, JV Podcast Network. Here with producer Snowman and, of course, our very special guest. We have Big Ev, Double Vodka Don, your wifey's favorite big boy. I have to get all these names in here. TikTok star, Barstool College Football Show, and host of 808 and Smoke Breaks, the highest podcast in the game. Big Ev, thanks so much for coming on and welcome.
Boys, appreciate you. That was a good intro. I like that.
Hey, thank you. We wanted to
bring your notes.
Energy. You're a big energy guy. We had to match it.
I love that.
Okay, so let's start here. I mentioned the TikTok star first. This is kind of a new thing for you. You kind of just stepped onto the scene with the TikTok. You've been all over Instagram posting them too. So you recently, because of TikTok, because of wiggle dicking, which we're going to get to, but first off, I want to know, are you podcasting right now? Because this TikTok stuff, this wiggle dicking got you into a hernia situation. You had to have hernia surgery. Are you podcasting hurt or injured right now?
Right now, I'd say I'm hurt. So I haven't had the surgery yet. I have it on Thursday. I don't know when this airs or anything, but I have it on Thursday. I have to go meet with the surgeon tomorrow, see what's going on. When I initially went in, the doctor told me that, like, did the CT scan and everything, said that I was going to need surgery, so I'm thinking that's probably what's going to happen. But, gotcha. Yeah, so not till Thursday, but yeah. So I'm hurt right now. I'm hurt.
Okay, podcasting hurt. Got it. Snowman.
I was listening to your latest show that you guys just put out, and you were talking about that, and you were describing, like, what it was. And I'm like, this is really, really familiar. Like, I seriously think I have the same thing. Because, I always thought hernias were, below the belt. And you start describing it, and I'm like, I got this big bump right above my, or right at my belly button level, and I'm like, freaking, it's like Kevin Malone describing, stock freight or what is it?
Yeah, when someone comes in and they explain insider trading in the office.
Insider trading.
Kevin does the talking head. He's like, I had Oscar explain insider trading to me again, and it sounds a lot like what I do here. So that was the situation. Oh, man. He heard you describing the hernia, and he's like checking off all the symptoms like it's WebMD. He's like, I think I must have a hernia. That explains this weird thing that's been going on in my stomach.
Yeah, it's crazy because I guess I'll explain too. So it was like I've been working out, whatever. It was, I guess now, like over a week ago. It was like early last week that I was feeling it. Or maybe it was like 2 weeks ago now. I'm losing track of time on the quarantine, but it was like early in the week. I felt it, and I kind of just like, it wasn't really hurt. I think I was doing core or something like that, like some ab stuff. Kind of just kept pushing throughout the week. It was getting worse and worse. Saturday, it was like I was doing a pretty hard workout, and I had to, like, stop. It was real bad. It's just this, like, sharp pain. Like, it's like every time you bend or you kind of, like, it's like you kind of, like, push on the spot, it just feels like somemeone's stabbing a fucking shank in your stomach. My bad. I don't know if y'all had to curse or whatever. But
No, go ahead.
Stabbing a shank in your stomach. And I just was like, I literally was like, I was doing the burpees, whatever. I was like, yo, I can't do this anymore. So the next day I took off, like didn't do anything on Sunday. And then Monday it was feeling like the worst it had felt. And then it had this weird feeling where it was like, it's still kind of like this now. Honestly, it keeps getting worse and worse. I'm glad I'm getting it soon. And it's like this weird thing where it's like my whole, like, just stomach, like that bottom section just gets like this weird, it's just like numb and like tingly. It's super weird. Yeah. But yeah, so then I went to the hospital, whatever. They checked it out, got a CT scan, had the hernia. So, I mean, what are you going to do, I guess? But it sucks. It's weird because it's like, it does hurt pretty much all the time, but it's not like it's not like crippling, but it's just when you like when you move it, button, when you push that button, it's just horrible. And it happens like usually a couple times a day. I try to like do, usually when you're standing like straight up, it's usually when you like bend over, go to pick something up. That's why the doctor was like, don't lift anything over like 20 pounds. Like, yeah. So, I mean, I'm battling through that. What are you going to do?
That's the way she goes sometimes. And the second part of this, so the wiggle dicking. Now, is this a your thing, a Barstool original thing? Because I've heard Portnoy say it. I've heard it on PMT. I've heard you refer to all the TikTok dancing as wiggle dicking. What is the origin? Where did wiggle dicking come from, that term?
I believe Dave, it must have been either Dave or KFC, I think, coined the phrase wiggle dicking. So honestly, how this all kind of started, because I really hadn't like done TikTok until probably like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then Dave was like he was kind of giving me a little shit about the workout videos. He was like, why are you posting on the blog, whatever. Like, and then Dave and Dan and KFC were kind of having my back with it a little bit. And I guess they had just been talking about wiggle dicking. And then KFC was like, oh, like, what if he like wiggle dicked? And Dave kind of like lit up and was like, oh, like that'd be funny.
Yeah.
So then so I actually saw it because one of my friends that watched sent it to me and was like, yo, you should like watch it. And then KFC texted me like later that night. It was like, yo, like I threw this out like off the hip kind of, and Dave like lit up. You should give it a try.
Yeah.
So I was gonna do like my own dance, and then I kind of just had this. I was actually one of my good friends. Shout out Sean, one of my like best friends in college. He used to film all my videos when I started in college. He was like, yo, you should duet like this kid. And he sent me this video of this little blonde kid like doing the Tootsie slide.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like this would be funny if I just like had my shirt off like him and just wear the same like outfit. And I just did it, and it kind of just took off. So I was like, fuck it, like I'll just keep running with it. And they kept taking off, kept taking off. And then the one I did this Addison Rae one where she's wearing this like bodysuit thing.
Yes.
And that just changed everything. That was the game changer. That was probably maybe the fifth one I did. And it's funny because I thought all the ones I did before that were way better. And I did that one thinking I was like, oh, like whatever, it'll be good, but like nothing crazy. And then all of a sudden on TikTok in like a couple hours, it had like 1 million views.
Wow.
And now it has like, I think like 19 or 20 million views on TikTok.
Wow.
And I literally had like, I think when I woke up that morning, I basically started from scratch. So in like 4 or 5 days, I gained like 2,000 followers on TikTok. So I was like, all right, like it's doing like, it's going up every day. Like, and then probably within 48 to 72 hours after I posted that video, I had like 90,000.
Wow.
So I just like shit, like I just got to keep running with it. So I mean, it's been going well.
Yeah, absolutely. I look back, I was looking at your blogs on Barstool, and back on April 21st, your blog, I love the title, True Life, I'm Addicted to Wiggling My Dick. And there was another one, it's like there's a new sheriff in town in the world of TikTok or whatever it was. So, you know, yeah, so it really just kind of started, it seems like this, it reminds me of Terry Hoyt's, Mark Wahlberg and the other guys, where he started doing this satirically just to make fun of everyone. Just like how he learned how to ballroom dance and do all these things to make fun of people. So I just love how the origin story of this, because you weren't trying too hard, you're just having fun with it. And there's people who probably bend over backwards and they're like trying to figure out algorithms and hashtags and all this, and what do I even film? And you're just having fun with it, and boom, you look at it. That's what the platform, that's what social media is all about. Like putting stuff out there that's funny, that you enjoy, and then letting people that also have the same sense of humor find what you find entertaining and run with it. And that just seems kind of like what your situation has been with TikTok, and you've really embraced it.
Yeah, it was pretty organic, because to be like completely honest, like I really didn't consume much TikTok. Like obviously I was very familiar with it. Like I saw it here and there. I posted like twice, like maybe, I think it was like literally months and months before, hadn't posted again. So it was pretty organic. And then like still to this day, I honestly don't consume like a ton of it, to be completely honest. I kind of feel bad saying that, but it's true. Right. But I mean, I enjoy, like I do think it's funny, because I think so many people think that the people that I impersonate, that's kind of like all TikTok is. Right. And that's really not the case. There's a lot of super like funny, really creative people that make like good content. Like it's not like every video has to be a 10-second dancing video. There's minute-long videos that are like really creative, funny. Right. So I mean, there is like a whole nother, and there's like so many different like worlds of TikTok. But to me, it just was like the Wild West. Like I really didn't know what I was doing. I always just I was like, fuck it, like I should just do this kids, because I always kind of, even as a bigger guy, kind of my whole life, I always was known for being like a pretty good dancer, especially when I get a couple beverages in me. So I mean, I always could move a little bit. So I was looking at it, after I did that one, then I'm looking at more and more, and I'm like, I really think if you give me like 20 minutes, I can learn this dance. Right. I gotta shut up my girlfriend. I've been staying with her. She's been a huge help, because actually two things. She did like dance her entire life, and she was a fashion major in college. Oh wow. So she basically learns the dance in about 2 minutes, and then teaches it to me like the opposite way, because to mimic it, you have to kind of do everything the opposite. Yep. So it's usually harder, because then I usually have to start everything with my left hand. So she kind of teaches me how to do it. And then she also somehow has been amazing at just like turning t-shirts and like just random things like into these outfits somehow that look like similar. I know. And I just kind of wear her mom's clothes for a lot of it. That's like actual girl clothes. I've just been wearing her mother's like shirts and stuff. Right. So I mean, it's worked out. It's been kind of like a perfect storm of like good shit. There you go. That's awesome. I love it. Now, is that video or that workout out there where you think, now, was there a moment when you got going back to the hernia thing, like where you got hurt? Was this in the middle of like a dance or a workout, or was it just kind of progressive one day? It just kind of got to the point where it was too much of an annoyance and you had to shut it down? Well, I think I kind of made the whole joke into it that like I wiggle dicked in the hernia, but it definitely was the working out. But
Yeah.
I think I was doing this like core workout. I don't think it would be on the video because usually like when I was filming, I would just kind of film the first like
Right.
10 seconds. So I think it happened like some point later on in it. And then it was like I felt it, but it wasn't like too bad that I'd like stop. And then it took me, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and it took me till like that Saturday to where it was like I can't do this shit anymore.
Gotcha. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, let's transition to this now. We mentioned you're at Barstool Sports, a blogger, part of the College Football Show. Let's start here in your bio. Something that really jumped out to us and something that cracks us up is that you were catfished into thinking that you had a job interview. So it would be against the rules of podcasting. There aren't many, but this is definitely one of them. If we didn't ask for you to give us that story, because that just sounds like a wild story. So we want all the details, all the background on that.
For sure. So it's kind of there's kind of like a story before the story. So I'll give you everything. So obviously I went to Ohio State. My senior year, I had gotten picked by the kid who had like already ran the Barstool Ohio State account.
Okay.
To like do content. It was kind of funny how it happened. So there really was like, I noticed for like such a big school at the time, it had a pretty like low following on like both platforms. So I remember I reached out to the account because I always wanted to do sports, like media. I'm a huge I became Barstool fan kind of like right before I came to Ohio State, was a big fan. So I reached out to the account, was like, hey, like if you ever need any help, like I think I can contribute, blah, blah, blah. They were kind of like, all right, like appreciate it kind of thing. Like sounds good. We'll reach out, whatever, if we need you, whatever. So it was during the summer. I was living in Columbus. I was taking some classes in the summer, living there, working just so I could like graduate, make sure I graduate in the spring. And I literally, they put out a tweet saying like, hey, we're expanding. We're looking for like an on-camera personality. And I was like, well, this is literally what I wanted to do my whole life. So like, I was crazy. I started typing out in the messenger to DM them on Twitter. I'm typing out this like super long thing, trying to like sell myself, basically pitch myself to get the spot. And literally like while I'm typing it, I was like almost done, probably like 80% done. They send me a message.
Wow.
Saying like send your best content here.
Yeah.
So I basically just kind of finished it and like told them at the end, wow, I literally was like just writing this and sent it. And then like literally probably like a day or two later, the guy was like, yeah, like you got it. And me not like this is literally just another college kid running it. Like it's nobody from the headquarters or anything like that. Just a student who had been running it. They were expanding the college count, which now you've seen like 2-3 years later, like it's really gotten huge. It's awesome what they've done. Like one of my roommates, like in Hoboken, actually like is a director of the program. They've done a great job with it. But so they picked up. It was like another person to like help with the Instagram, someone to help with like graphics and things like that, and then like me to do like just try some content. So I started doing that. I didn't realize at the time, I had no idea that no one, like no Viceroys had really made like actual like original content before. So I made one. I kind of had one planned like all summer, working my ass off. I had this whole spiel where I started this thing called Talking Bucks, and kind of like my first like segment that I did for them, where I would just kind of like do my little shtick, like the Big Ev Double Vodka Don shtick, wear the Hawaiian shirt, shorts, like kind of just crack some jokes in the other team, give a score prediction. And so I had this whole thing written out, ready to go. We were playing Indiana. I remember we went like to the stadium, film it. The whole thing, I knew sex sells. One of my girls I was friends with, who was like good looking girl, I'm like, all right, like you want to be like kind of like my like little video vixen? She was like, sure, like definitely down. So literally I'm fully ready. I'm dressed. Gets to that day to film it, fully ready, dressed in the Hawaiian shirt. Text her, be like, yo, like I'm about to come in like 10 minutes. She's like, yo, my car just got stolen. True story. It really did get stolen. She's not like one of my good friends this day. Her car legitimately got stolen. Crazy.
Jesus.
She ended up getting it back, like found it, like it got found.
Yeah.
So I'm bugging out. I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Text another one of my good looking friends. She said she's down. End up scooping her like on a whim. She had just finished class. Literally picked her up, went, did the video, thought it went well, like all fired up. My boy edits it, send it in because they wanted to see it first before we post anything. They liked it, but they thought it was too long. I cursed too much. They thought I was forcing it a little bit. So I was pretty bummed, pretty disappointed. Still posted at my own like personal. People liked it, but I mean, whenever something's like new and fresh, I didn't get too much into my head about it. I was like, oh, I appreciate people liking the feedback. So then I did another one the next week, ran it back again, we were playing Oklahoma and actually sucked because it was the one we got smoked by them after we had beat them the year before in Oklahoma. And I did the video then, made it shorter. I played kind of a joke on how Baker got arrested. People, they liked that one. So when I sent that in, they liked it. It was good. Got to post it. And then they sent like put me in this like big email with like all the viceroys, like basically posted the video. And basically it was Tex at the time. We don't really speak about him anymore, but he was who was running the program at the time.
Yeah.
And he sent this email to all the viceroy accounts, like hundreds of them, being like, yo, like you guys need to start doing shit like this. Like this is like what it is. And I was like, damn, like I was very unaware until basically that moment that no one had ever done anything like that before. So then kept it rolling. Like it was going good. It was doing these like once a week, doing the video every week. It was going well. Actually, I think it was after that because I predicted the score so badly that week. Then I think I had like a nice span where like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, I predicted the score like almost to a T. Like I don't think I could ever do it again. It was crazy. And they were good, and people liked them. They were funny. It was working. And then a lot of other people started doing videos. I guess like they weren't really working as much. So I'd gotten to the point where the second semester, I basically was the only kid that was like allowed to do like original videos and stuff. So I'm thinking like, all right, I'm like in my head, I'm like, this is working out. Like they're liking it. Like kids at the headquarters liking it. I had a few guys like reaching out to me from the headquarters, like a couple of the viceroy guys, like Tommy Smokes. Who at this time, this was like before Tommy Smokes was Tommy Smokes.
Yeah.
This was kind of like right before his like March Madness run.
Right.
A few guys that sit over in their section were like, yo, like Za, where they were like, yo, like every time you put a video, we stop and watch it. Yeah. And I was like, damn. So like maybe I was like, shit's going well. Like this is good. So I think it was like, I believe it was February. And I knew I knew at some point I was going to get an opportunity to interview for an internship, whether it was like end of semester, whether it was social media, whatever it was. I knew at some point I was going to get a chance. And I'm from New York. So for me, it's like not as bad. Like it's not, I don't have to fly across the country. I grew up 45 minutes north of New York City. Very familiar. Like for me, it's hopping on a train, bada bing, bada boom, I'm there. So I think it was February. I was writing a paper and I had to finish it super late, crammed it, like printed it out and just got to class. The teacher was kind of a hard ass, just sport research class. So I got in, like handed the paper, like got there like a minute, like right before the class started, sat down and didn't really look at my phone the whole class. Then pull it out like right when I leave. And it's a text from what I thought was Gaz at the time. And it says like, oh, like we're like, I forget. Basically, it just was like, oh, like we've been liking what you've been doing, whatever. Like, we'd like you to come in for an interview like as soon as possible. Like, let's like work it out. So in my head, my heart's pounding. I'm like, yo, like this is it. Like they're giving me the call to the big leagues. Like, no way they want me to come in like the middle of February if they're not about to offer me like a job. So I'm like psyched. I'm showing like all my best friends like back home. My boy Sean was on my videos. Like all my friends at like my fraternity, they're all like psyched for me. Like no one's thinking anything of it. Like no one's thinking because no one. I mean, obviously after there's so many red flags. Like it was like green bubbles. Like I never talked to him personally. Like Tex never sent anything to me. So there definitely were a ton of red flags. But I think when you're so like when you have the blinders on, I really like. I'd gotten in some trouble in my past. So I think like I knew I was really like had put all the chips in on this. Like I was like, I'm really going for this. Like this is what I want to do. Like if this doesn't work out, I don't know what I'm going to do, but that doesn't matter right now. Like I'm going for it. So in my brain, I'm just like, this is it. Like I got it. Like this is, I'm going to go in there and sell the hell out of myself. So plan a day. I believe it actually was President's Day. So I basically spend all the money I have, buy a plane ticket home, go home, take a train in that morning. I think it was February 20th. It was a Monday. And I'm at the door waiting. So, and the old office, there's like, you can go right in, but since it was President's Day, there was no one like in the lobby, like no door person. So the door was just closed. So I'm there for maybe like 2 seconds. I'm in Hawaiian shirt, shorts. It's like 20 degrees outside, whole shtick, like just ready to go. And then Tommy Smokes and Jack Mack walk up, who I met them both personally before. Cause I came in for like during the fall, the viceroy guy was like, yo, like if you're ever home for a weekend, want to just come in, we're in. So I came in, so I knew a few of them. So they let me in. They're familiar with me. They let me in. I take up the elevator with them. Then Gaz's where his old desk was kind of right by the door. So I go up, like shake his hand, whatever. He kind of just like shakes my hand. Like I'm just like, oh, like I'll go wait over here. Cause I knew I was early. He wasn't like too like he didn't like make like a face that would make me think he didn't know who I was, but I think he might have knew who I was, but I think he kind of was just like, yeah, like nice to meet you. Right. So I was a little thrown by it, but I was like, oh, like I'm early, like he's busy, whatever. So I was like, oh, I'll go talk to these guys. I go sit over like by that table with like Za and Tommy and all these guys, talk to them a little bit. And then Tex is talking. He's like, oh, like, what are you doing here? So I tell him. He goes talk to Gaz. It's one of those, when he went to talk to Gaz, I started having like the feeling. Like I kind of just had the instinct. I felt it. I was like, something's just like not right.
Right.
Then he comes back. He's like, yo, like, let me talk to you in this room for a second. Drops the bomb on me. So I'm kind of just sitting there and in my head, I'm like, God, I'm like, I almost was having, even though I was like obviously upset about it, I kind of just had like this smile because I just was like laughing at myself. I was like, dude, I'm such an idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, how dumb could I possibly be? Like, because then it's all hit me at once. I'm like, damn, like I literally like off of text messages, I bought a plane ticket, got on a plane, flew my ass here, took a train in, like walked all the way here. I'm in shorts. It's February, 20 degrees outside. I'm just like, what did I do? So he's asking me, I'm like showing him kind of the messages we exchanged back and forth. He's telling me, he's like, yeah, like obviously that's not Gaz's number. Like,
yeah,
there's a green bubbles. Like, you idiot. He has an iPhone.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know, dude. I'm like, yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm like, what do you think I should do? Like, should I go like, should I like try to approach Dave? Should I like just wait another time? Like, what do you think I should do? And he was like, if I were you, I'd probably just dip. So I was like, all right, like bet, like no questions asked. Kind of just walked out. Didn't think much of it. So then I'm on the train home, and I'm literally like, not literally, but I'm literally thinking about jumping off that train. Like, I'm just like, dude, this is the worst thing ever. It's all setting in. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm such a fucking idiot. Like, I'm such a loser. I was like, everyone's going to make fun of me. But in my head, so I also, leading up to it, when I'm walking in, I used to do these videos called the Morning Mac, where there were kind of these little like inspirational little videos, get your day started. So I made this whole thing like being like, oh, like today's the day, like conquer it, make your dreams come true. Like this is it. Cause I'm thinking, I'm like, this is it. Like the kid's getting the call to the big leagues. So then I'm thinking after this, all this going through my head, and I'm like, damn, like I need to like address this before like it like grabs me. So I do this video when I finally get back to my car at the train station. Basically just, even though I kind of wasn't feeling this, I kind of like put on my best face and just said like, basically like, fuck it. Like this only makes me stronger. Like my balls just got bigger, like from watching this, like anyone who is hating, like can basically keep hating, like, fuck it. Like I'm still here. Like it's not getting me down. And I think I'm not here today without that video. Cause I think that video is what made Dave like me and take an interest in me.
Yeah.
And I think that was like I think that ended up being my real interview, was that like post video. Because then it was the biggest roller coaster day, because I'm high as hell in the morning. Then I'm low as can be, like get on the train on the way home. And then out of nowhere, so Tex was kind of telling me like on the train ride home, he was like, yo, this is going to be good for you. Like they're going to write a blog about it. Like it's going to be funny. Take it in stride. So I'm kind of like, okay, but I'm still not like that positive about it. I'm like, okay, but like whatever. And then I forget what time it was, probably maybe 6, 7, 8 later in the day. Dave posts a blog saying like must read, like all this thing, like my picture from one of my videos is like the cover of the video with the Catfish like logo around it. Was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just like, wow. So then I read the blog, and basically Jack Maggett wrote this whole blog being like super, super positive about me. He was a fan of mine. Like he appreciated that I worked really hard, what I was trying to do. So I think that helped me a lot too, because Dave was obviously at the time like unfamiliar with me completely.
Right.
And the people that did know me did speak like relatively highly of me. So he wrote this kind of whole blog, like more, he just knew a lot more about me. So then Dave kind of put like, this is Jack Magg's blog. Like he kind of just added stuff at the end. Kind of said, obviously I didn't know all the characters involved. So he kind of put some of my content in there, put like some videos, like told the whole story. And then Dave kind of put at the end, like, yeah, like just like, besides the fact that he's like he's an idiot and he's a Yankees fan, an Ohio State fan, like I love everything about this kid. I remember when I read that sentence, I was just like, my heart just, because I'm such a big fan of him. Like I'm just like looking up to this guy, like him, Kevin, Dan, all these guys. And like, especially KFC was like, spoke so positive about me on the radio, every time he spoke about me, he like just said he thought I was charismatic, thought I was good on camera, like just had some spunk, whatever. So I really like that. And especially because KFC was the first person I ever read at Barstool, being a New York guy. Like basically how I found out about Barstool was I started seeing some of his tweets get retweeted on my Twitter. Mm-hmm. And that was how I first kind of got introduced to it. So for him to kind of be like, for him to speak like that about me, I was like just blown away, like hearing him on the radio, whatever. So then he's like, at the end, he just says in the blog, he just says like, Frankie, like hit up Big Ev, like tell him to come in for like a real interview. So then Frankie DMs me on Instagram, like follows me and DMs me like probably like 20 minutes after I read it. And he's like, yo, like Dave like really wants you to come in for an interview. Like, let's like work it out, whatever. So I'm like, of course.
Right.
And then I'm just like, oh my God, like all my friends are blowing my phone up. All these people are messaging me on Twitter. They're like, yo, like even people from kind of like Barstool reaching out to me. Like I remember like Hubs reached out to me, like Francis reached out to me. A few people reached out to me, and I was just like, oh man, like this is crazy. This ended up just the roller coaster just being down, like up, up, down, and then back up again. I was like, because then everyone's telling me, they're like, trust me, like this is the best thing that's gonna ever happen to you. Like this is what's just gonna put you on the radar. So then, yeah, they end up the interview kept getting pushed back. Finally, they just had me kind of come in when like all the other viceroys were coming in. But for them, like I was the only one that was interviewing for like a content position, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so remember Dave, they were all meeting with like Gaz and other people. I was the only one that was supposed to meet with like Dave himself. So I come back in, sticks back, shorts, Hawaiian shirt. Thank God this time it was in like, I think like March or like
a little better,
like that, a little warmer. So he was super busy, which like now being in the office with him, I know he's like always so busy just because he does so much like content, but Dave, he just handles so much business stuff as well. Right. So he is just like around the clock working. So then they kept being like, oh, he'll meet with you in a half hour. He'll meet with you in like half hour. Then finally I was on the second floor just waiting before it was like super packed out. He comes downstairs. He sees me. He just stops, like shakes my hand. He's like, Ev, like looking good. I'm like, appreciate it. He walks by. Then Gaz grabs me, pulls me in a room. He's like, well, he's just like, well, Dave wants you here. So like, if you want an internship, like you got it. And I'm like, well, yes. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. So he's like, all right, like, he's like, all right, like, we'll work out all the details. But he's like, you'll get paid like this much, with this much, whatever. I was like, dude, he could have paid me nothing. I would have been there.
Fuck that.
I was like, sure, sounds good. And then so that was really it. And then yeah, kind of like the rest is history, I guess. So I was just kind of an intern that whole summer, working my ass off, and it's kind of just trying to work my way up since then.
Wow. So what's so beautiful, what I love the most about that story is, and I think, while we're young and you hear a lot of people become successful or gotten to where they want to be, or at least on the track to where they want to be, is at one point they're naive or, maybe not necessarily catfished like you were, but, having the blinders on and the naiveness, and whoever, I don't know if you ever found out who was sending you these texts, but at the end of the day, that's part of your story. That's part of your journey. And it all worked out. And in the moment, those lows, I mean, you can look back on them and laugh them now because look where you're at. And that's the most beautiful part of the story. If you were overthinking it, or, you were too skeptical, if you didn't have those blinders on, you would have never gone. You would have just called the bluff on it. And yeah, you would have been right in the moment, but you maybe wouldn't be where you're at right now. And I think that's what's so awesome about it.
No, I appreciate it. That's definitely, you hit the nail on the head. Like, it's because even Dave kind of wrote this in the blog too. Like he was kind of like this, like he kind of loved kind of like sort of this blind confidence that I had at the time, where I just was like I was like, oh, like of course they want me. Like why wouldn't, kind of thing, like,
yeah.
Which kind of was how I was feeling, because it was kind of maybe a month or two after they had basically cut pretty much everyone off from doing content in the Vicer program but me. So part of that, I was kind of feeling myself a little bit. I was like, damn, like I kind of was the only one who like passed that test, so to speak. So I was a little bit, and like, not that it was getting in my head or anything, but just on campus, like it started really getting crazy, where people are always like asking for pictures. Like you're at the bar, everyone's trying to talk to you. By the second semester, I'm walking to class. Like it's like a lot of the kids know who I am,
right?
And stuff like that. So I'm really like, I think all of that was coming out. I was like, damn, like it's working. Like people like what I'm doing. Like everywhere I go, like people are saying like positive things about me to my face, whatever. So I'm like, I'm like, shit is like going well. Like this is working out. So I mean, what are you gonna do?
I mean, the biggest thing I think I took from your story is how fucking pissed I would be if I spent however much money on a plane ticket and then rode a bus into the city and got there and they're like, yeah, you just got catfished. I would have been so fucking mad.
It was one of those things where honestly I haven't opened up to too many people about this besides like close friends. It was funny because at the time, like I was like feeling so low. But even though like I did get brought back by like obviously Dave writing the blog, getting asked to come in for like a real interview, like a real opportunity. For a while there, I definitely still was in a pretty like, I don't want to say like too dark of a place, but I definitely was in like a
kind of, you had your guard up.
It definitely knocked down my confidence a few notches, where I was really feeling myself. It definitely kind of pulled the rug out from under me, where I was like, it definitely made me start to question myself some, for sure. Yeah. But I think I've gotten past that since then. But at the time, it definitely made me feel a little, I knew that coming into the office, I was going to really have to prove myself, because now I had this, like now people kind of, people knew me and they didn't know any of the other interns. And I would say they knew me for maybe good, maybe bad. Like, it was a weird, because there also, I don't know, there was also some other stuff that happened before I got hired where I'd gotten in trouble at my old college. I went to Coastal Carolina. I got arrested for selling weed. I got kicked out of college. And they have this thing on so down in South Carolina, it's public record. And they have this thing called mugshots.com. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
Yeah.
Where they basically post all the mugshots, everything. And what happened was they basically it's not real charges. They put like a blanket statement of charges. So under mine, it was obviously I was selling weed, but it was like distributing, selling, like manufacturing, schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drugs, this drug, that drug, that drug. And one of them was like a roofie.
Oh, God.
So someone on Reddit like sabotaged me and like sent it into them, was like, yo, like this kid was selling date rape drugs in college. So then I remember it was maybe April or May. Tex reached out to me, he called me, and I was like, it was like midday, like 3 p.m. And he's like, yo, like, tell me the truth. Like, what happened with all this? And I'm like, dude, like, he knew about it already. I told him what happened, like, way before that, like, months. Yeah. So I told him, like, yo, like, I swear to God, it was weed. I've never even seen a roofie in my life, in my mother's life. Like, I'm like, I don't know what's like. So I'm trying to explain to him all this. He's like, send me the paperwork. Like, thank God my dad had saved all the paperwork from it. I sent it all to him. Like, yo, like, it says very clear right here, like possession, distribution, that's it, of marijuana, just marijuana.
Yeah.
So then it was a whole thing where basically I didn't even really know at the time, but I thought after I kind of cleared myself with that, I was good. But to them, my kind of hiring was like in limbo, whether they're going to give me the internship or not. But no one had told me not to come in. So I come in the first day of the internship, and I remember I'm in there for maybe 20 minutes. And basically, what happened was they kept basically saying, all right, like, you got to talk to Dave, kept getting pushed back. It never happened. Finally, like, internship day 1 comes around. So I'm like, all right, like, no one's told me not to come. Like, I'm going. Yeah. So I show up. All the other interns show up. And I'm there for like 10, 15 minutes. And YP just kind of comes over and, like, when he was doing suicide, he just like sticks the camera on my face. And he's like, dude, like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here for my internship. Like, just waiting to talk to Dave. Like, not really realizing that they're on the other side being like, what the fuck is this kid doing here?
Yeah.
Like, so then finally that day, like, I get to talk to Dave. I tell him the dead honest truth. I tell him everything that happened. I'm like, yo, I have the paperwork. I have it. So Tex, like, he had it from his email. He prints it out, brings it up to the office when I'm talking to Dave. And there's actually all documented. I believe if I remember correctly, it's like Stool Scenes episode like 65 or something like that. And it's like, and they literally has our entire meeting. Like, right. It was so crazy because I remember I sit down and YP goes in the room with the camera and Dave's like, I don't really know if I want you to film this. And he's kind of like, whatever, like, if we don't want to use it, like, we'll just scrap it. Yeah, so he filmed our whole conversation. I'm speaking like from the bottom of my heart. I'm like, this is what happened, this. Brings up the paperwork. He shows right here. He's like, right here is like possession, distribution of marijuana. I'm like, yes, like, that's it. Like, I promise you that is it. That is all that happened. So he's like, all right. He's like, listen, he was like, I like you. Like, I'm good with you saying if Eric is good with it. You got to talk to her first, though. So then I ended up talking to her, I think, the next afternoon. And she just kind of says to me, like, I'm good with it. Like, it's the truth. Like, you just keep your nose clean. Like I would say to anyone else, like, but you especially, like, keep your nose clean. I'm like, I got you, like, promise.
Right.
And then that was really it. I just busted my ass all summer. Like, was working like 60, 70 hours a week, fucking doing whatever. I was going in early. I was helping not produce. I was kind of like, I was basically screen calls, do like write-ups of like notes, what they talked about in the show for the Yak. So that was till 7. So I was there. And then sometimes I'd be there even later. I started doing like Fat Guy Facts at that time. So I would stay even after that and like film those too. Yep. When I first started, before like Barstool kind of picked it up as a segment. So I was doing like 10, 12-hour days, sleeping on my buddy's couch in Brooklyn, like just commuting and just going home on the weekends, and just did that really all summer until they offered me the full-time job in like, I guess it was August.
Wow.
And that was really it. It was crazy because even then, like, it was funny because I was doing a lot of different things. I was basically running the 5th year account by myself, going through like 1 million DMs a day, doing like a few different things, doing basically whatever anyone needed. I was running coffees, like whatever anyone needed, I was doing it. And then I had to meet with Dave, and Dave, he does a Nantucket trip. He was gone for most of the summer. So I sit down with him and he's like, yep, basically like, you need meeting contracts up. I'm like, yeah, I'm contracts up. He's like, so what have you been doing? He's like, I don't really know, honestly, what you've been doing. Like, I've seen some of the videos whenever he had me on radio a few times. That was really it. Oh, and I was hosting sometimes on Fridays, just filling and stuff. But so I basically just pitched my heart to him. I'm like, yo, like, this is what it is. Like, show him all my ideas, things I'd done all summer, all this and that. So then he's like, all right, like he's like, good talk kind of thing. Like, I'll let you know. So I'm downstairs and I'm just sitting at the intern table like I always am. Kind of still, it's been like maybe 1 or 2 days. So I'm still kind of just in limbo. I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen. And they're having a meeting in the downstairs. They kind of have these like glass meeting rooms. Mm-hmm. So they're having a meeting. And then Gaz kind of pops out and he's like, yo, like, come in here. So I go in and it's like, I think it was Dave, Big Cat, Frankie, Casey, Gaz. That might have been it. Maybe one other person. I can't remember. Maybe one of the sales, like business people, because it's a sponsored show. Mm-hmm. And I remember I kind of just walk in and Dave just looks at me. It was very like anticlimactic. He's just like, you got a job, take a seat. You're on the college football show. And I was just like, okay. And I'm just like, there was no resounding clap. It was just like, sit down. We're having a meeting now. And I'm like, all right. So then it's funny how the table was set up. When Dave used to do the goalie challenges, there was the goalie net, literally the goal was in the room. And it was like backwards, like facing the wall. So obviously the metal kind of like, it's like out. So it was in a position right behind like one of the head of the table chairs that they like wanted me to sit in, where just kind of was the open seat. And I'm pulling it out. And since the goalie thing's behind it, there's not enough room for my big ass to sit down in it, like sit down in the chair in front of the table. So I remember I pulled it out like twice until I couldn't sit in it. I just pushed it back in and I just stood there because I was so like nervous. I just was like, fuck, like, yeah. And then literally they're like, yo, like, just move the seat over. This is going to be like a 45-minute meeting. Like, sit down. Like, yeah. All right. And then they just kind of like, Casey, I think, just grabbed the seat, like pulled it over, and I just like went and like sat in it.
Right. So but then in your head, if that chair hits the goalie net and it makes too large of a ting, your job is gone. You're done.
It wasn't even, I don't even think it was that. It was just, I was like it was just such like a whirlwind at once. Right. I was just like, my heart's pounding. I'm like, holy shit, like I got a job. Yeah. And then also I'm kind of looking around this room and I'm like, I'm just thinking, I'm like, I'm in a room. I'm like, this is like Dave, Big Cat, Casey, Frankie, and me in a room. I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Yeah. I was like, what am I doing in this room? Like, there's one person that sticks out in this room that doesn't fit. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God. So then obviously they pull me in. Once I sat down, I calmed down a little bit because then it got in meeting mode. So then kind of more the light kind of flicks on. I'm like taking notes because they're like, all right, like you're going to be kind of like the fifth guy. You're going to be like, you're not going to be on the whole show. You're going to have segments you come in and out for. You're going to do this, that. You're going to run the social media account for it. So I'm like, all right, they're telling me notes to do, like things we're going to do. I'm taking notes on my phone, yada, yada. And then still kind of the whole time but I'm still thinking in my head, I'm like, damn, like this is so crazy. Like I can't wait to call my dad when I get out of this room. Like this is just like wild, just being in this room. And then, yeah, I guess that was the story of actually like getting hired. Right. But yeah. And that whole fall was just like such a whirlwind, like just getting to do the show. That's like the only show they fly private for. So like a couple months later, like I'm on a private plane with like this same group of people. And I'm just like, man, this is crazy. Because I remember, actually, I'll tell this story too. So the first live show we did, we went to Michigan. It was Michigan, Wisconsin. We had this big, like, I didn't know to like, I think it was the day before we left. Dave was like, you're going to be the crowd guy. I think you'd be good in there. It'd be funny. So he's like, we're going to put you in the crowd with a mic and a camera, and you're going to do your stuff from there. And then go on the stage, like, at the end of the show and do your thing at the end. And I was like, all right, like, sounds good. So I'd never done anything like that in my life. Like, I'm not some, like, broadcast journalism major. Like, I have no experience, like, doing anything like that at all. And then I'm like, all right, I guess, like, we'll see how this goes. So we fly there private, like, get there. Like, we had a real good time the night before. Got shit-faced at all the bars, like, had a good time. The game wasn't until, like, the next night. So kind of then that whole next morning, me and Spider are running around doing errands. We used to do, like, this like, game day, like, sign segment. So I'm getting all those prepared, doing all this stuff. Finally get back. We have like an Airbnb with like a big, like just parking lot type thing, like right outside the stadium. So there's a ton of people there. I go inside the house. We're kind of just gambling on games, like drinking a couple beers, like watching whatever. And then at one point I go upstairs and no one told me that this was happening. But so I go upstairs, I go to the bathroom. I come downstairs. I knew they were friends, but I didn't know he was just going to be here. I come downstairs, and Blake Griffin's just sitting on the couch. Because him and Big Cat are like boys, whatever, even at this time.
Blake of the year. Blake of the year. Yep.
he played for the Pistons. So I'm like, oh, in my head, like, yeah, fuck, he plays for the idiot. He had kind of like just started playing. I'm like, oh, he plays for the Pistons now. Like Detroit, we're in Michigan. Like this makes sense. So he's with all his boys, and Big Cat being like the good guy that he is, like I don't even say nothing. He kind of sees my eyes like light up a little bit when I walk down, I just see him sitting there. And obviously he knows like I've never met anybody like this. Like a few people come in as an intern. Actually, I guess a lot of people come in, but like they tell us basically don't approach people. Don't like I never asked anyone for a picture, anyone for an autograph. Never an autograph, no pictures, nothing. Yeah. So he's like, yo, like he's like, oh, like this is like, he's like, Blake, this is like Evan, like he's like this big Ev, like he's on the show with us. So he like shakes my hand, whatever, like say what's good. So he's all these guys, such like genuine guys. Like he didn't have to do that. Like he immediately like noticed that. He was like, oh, like this is someone who definitely would appreciate meeting Blake Griffin right now, and I definitely did.
Oh yeah.
So I'm finding myself like I'm in this house with this group and Blake Griffin and like all his crew, and I'm just talking to a few of like Blake Griffin's boys. We're doing beers, whatever, get ready for the show. Finally, it's showtime. I go out. I'm playing my whole shtick. Like I'm wearing the Ohio State jacket,
of course,
at a Wisconsin-Michigan game. So I walk in, it's a massive crowd, just huge crowd. I finally get my earpiece in, give me the mic, like all business Pete's kind of give me the rundown. He's like, listen, like you have an earpiece, I can talk to you. I cannot hear you. He's like, you can hear me, I cannot hear you. So like, you just got to take what I say and go with it. Like get to where like Frankie will talk to you too. He'll tell you like where he wants you kind of thing. So then I go out in the crowd, I get he's like, this is your camera guy. Like he's got this massive jumbo camera with all these wires. And there's this other guy who's kind of like security, just like holding the wires. He's got like, they're going to be with you. Like, just get out there. Like, just get in the middle. So I go to the crowd and immediately they're all like, oh, like, fuck this guy. Like, and I don't know what, I'm always been kind of a person, like, I'm pretty mellow, but I get fired up real easily. So there was kind of a moment I just had where I was like, I got to just like lean into this. Like, I'm the Ohio State guy. I'm here. Like, they both don't like me. Right. So I'm like, I think something about me, I was just like, fuck Michigan and fuck Wisconsin. Like, we're going to kick both your asses this season. I think some people thought, they were like, this kid is so crazy that I kind of like it. Yeah. So then I kind of won a bunch of them over. But then I walk in, and there was this one kid that was like really like starting to like kind of give me a hard time about it. He's like talking shit. I'm kind of talking shit back to him. We're going back and forth. Then he kind of gives me like kind of like a passive aggressive like shoulder like nudge, like pretty hard. So I turn around and I kind of like shove him, and I'm like, yo, like, he was like, if you want a problem, like, take a shot, sweetheart. Like, tap my chin. But then I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, damn, like, this is the first time I'm doing this. Like, am I about to get into a fist fight before the show even starts? Right. Like, in the middle of this crowd, like, this is not going to be good. So the kid backs off, and then the guy who was holding the wires, I guess he was like sort of security. He kind of just like tapped me, and he was like, yo, like, he was like, I got your back. Like, you're good. So I'm like, all right, like, we're good. So then, yeah, the show went on. And then I do my segment. It comes back to then like go back to them, comes back to me again. And the guy next to me, he just has like a dizzy bat. He's like, yo, you want to do a dizzy bat? So this is completely like unplanned or whatever. I'm like, fuck it. Like, I'll do a dizzy bat. So then they bring it on me. I do the dizzy bat. I just throw after like I can't swing the bat or anything. The crowd's like massive. Right. So I just throw the can in the air, start going nuts. Like I think I just went over the crowd. Like they start going crazy. They love it. And then show ends, whatever, like that was probably middle of the show. Blake was like the guest picker on the show. Yep. Then did like a segment where I go on stage, kind of give like our lock, like top 10s, whatever, bottom 10. I used to wear like this, the first season of the show when I was on, I'd wear like the sandwich board for like the people's like top 10, bottom 10. Yeah. And then just start throwing merch in the crowd. So then that was kind of how the show would end. So I go back in the house after, and before I went back in, Frankie grabs me and he's like, yo, like you murdered it. And I kind of was so like, I didn't really like realize that I'd done like, well, I kind of just like, I want to say like I blacked out, but I kind of just like was just in the zone. Like I kind of just went with it. And then I go back in the house and Dave sees me turn around. He's like, Ev, great job. And he like never gives attaboys. And everyone like told me that was one thing, even like months before that, like he never gives attaboys. So when he kind of gave me the verbal ass slap, I kind of was like, damn, like I must have did pretty good. And I think that was kind of like I think that was definitely like a catalyst moment for me at Barstool, where in my head, it finally, at least like maybe like 1%, I was like, okay, like maybe I do belong here. Like maybe like I have something like I can like keep going forward. And then that kind of kept being a thing throughout the show. Like the live shows were definitely where like I shined in, especially that like show. And I think that kind of parlayed into like me getting like more opportunities and like doing some more things, like making like me become like a bigger part of the live show. and that kind of thing. So that definitely was like a huge moment for me, I guess, in like my Barstool career. That was definitely like the leapfrog, I think, moment.
For sure. Where is the favorite place that you've gone and done the Barstool Football Show other than Ohio State? What's been your favorite place to go to?
Probably Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Wisconsin. So we went there this year. That was Wisconsin, Michigan at Wisconsin this time.
Okay.
That was definitely the best crowd. Obviously, no brainer. You have Dave and Big Cat, like you got the Michigan, Wisconsin guy.
Right.
But that was like the coolest like campus. I thought, like the nicest. It's on the water.
Oh yeah.
Like the bar scene was really cool. Like we went out the night before, had a good time. So yeah, probably Wisconsin. We went there. Been to Michigan. We went to Clemson was cool.
Yeah.
We didn't get to, so we did the largest cocktail party, but like it's not in a college town, it's in Jacksonville. But that was still like a cool environment to be in.
Yep.
So probably Wisconsin. Wisconsin was sick.
Yeah.
I have a proposal for you. Now, you take this and you do whatever you want. But I don't know if you know this, but I play college football.
Okay.
I play for a D2 school in Ohio, Tiffin
What school?
University. Tiffin University.
I've heard of it.
Yep. The hat. I don't know. Didn't see that. But if you guys want to come and do a Dragon game day, you just let me know, and I'll make sure the red carpet's laid out.
Okay. So it's funny. So this past year, we were going to do the Cortica Jug, which is a D3 game.
Okay.
It's actually like the longest running rivalry in like the history of college football, like over 100 years. And it's funny because when I got kicked out of Coastal, between when I went there and when I went to Ohio State, I went to Cortland for a semester. So I was like pretty familiar. It's like 2 hours, like 2-3 hours north of like Bumblefuck, New York, like upstate New York.
Yeah.
And we were going to do it there, but they moved it to MetLife where the Giants and Jets play. And they would not give us like tailgate space because it's so like packed out. They wouldn't let, and it basically, if you're not in the parking lot, it's like basically off the highway. So like there's not really like a place to do it. You know, that's what, so I mean, we were definitely like, we're open to the small schools. That unfortunately just didn't work out for us, but you never know. I know they had thought about trying to do some stuff. There had been some discussions. I don't know how like serious they got or whatever about going like super out west to like North Dakota or doing like one of these other, like doing like a Mount Union type or like one of those, like the powerhouse D3 schools, like one of those.
Yeah. Mount Union is fucking crazy. Those are so crazy.
That's what I've heard. I know there have been like some discussion about, I don't know how serious, but about like trying to maybe do one at a school like that or similar. So you never know. Not a couple of games, we'll see.
I have a more realistic option. If you want to come out west, I'm at Arizona State. It might be a little.
Oh.
So I mean, that might.
Now you're talking to me.
I hate to want to.
I love the beach. I'm a pool guy. I love the beach. Love the pool. I love the good weather.
No beach, but we got plenty of pools, and
that works. Pools are good.
Yeah. So okay, I love that. That was amazing. We got all that Barstool stuff taken care of, but now we're getting down to the real part of the conversation because my producer Snowman here was telling me. He was listening to your latest episode, and you guys were talking about school lunches back in the day. And we are just so honored and so happy that we're all on the same page here in regards to the chicken patty sandwich.
Thank you.
The chicken patty, man.
Thank you so much.
In high school where we could get the spicy chicken patty. Now, let me tell you my concoction here. So I would do the spicy chicken patty. Then they had like a mustard mayo mix. And then they gave you the cheesy mashed potatoes. I'd put all of that together. Did you ever get creative with not only the entrees but the sides to make it into sort of a to quote quick kicking and screaming a mega person?
So no, we did. So at my school, I know Jetski in our podcast has talked about at his school you could get spicy. Yeah. Ours there was not a spicy option, just normal chicken patty. Gotcha. But it was the option every day, which he didn't have. Ours, if you didn't like, if you don't like what the school lunch was having, you could get a chicken patty every single day. So chicken patty was like all rock. Like it was a staple. Like that's like hard hat lunch pail lunch, school lunch. You could always fall back on chicken patty. So nothing creative. We didn't have the cheesy potatoes. I would usually put a slice of cheese on it because I'm a huge cheese guy. Cheese makes everything better in my opinion.
Yep.
So nothing too crazy. Just slap a slice of cheese on there. That was about it. But chicken patty is just like rock solid.
Another one for us too, and we loved it, and it was usually dangerous during football season because they would always serve it on Fridays, but it was just impossible to skip. Chicken finger wrap.
Yep.
We did have times, we did have meals where they did serve chicken tenders, but we didn't I don't believe, I'm trying to remember, maybe we did. Okay. We might, now that I'm like thinking about it, we might have had a chicken patty wrap with just some like lettuce and cheese, little ranch maybe on it.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know what it was. We just got so excited for it. And they always served it on Fridays, and they'd give you, the little tortillas, and you could once again get spicy. So they throw the spicy tenders in there. But then again, they had like this Chipotle, like Southwest sauce that you could put on there.
Love
it was
that.
just, it was just great. You couldn't beat it.
So are you an Ohio guy as well?
No, I'm still out in Arizona.
Where are you from though?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm from Ohio.
Okay.
We're both from Mansfield. It's only like 40 minutes from Columbus.
Okay, I've heard my girlfriend lives in Fairborn.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Dayton area.
No, that's like 2 hours from here, from where I'm at. I'm at home because of quarantine. Or else I'd be up at school, and he's obviously out at ASU.
How is it up with you with are you done or you got years left? You have school.
I have one more year left. I just finished up my junior year, so I came in as a receiver and a quarterback, and then my sophomore year or my redshirt freshman year, our kicker tore his hamstring off the bone basically, and I had played like soccer my whole life, soccer, football, baseball, everything, and so I'm like, hey guys, I can kick probably. So I've been the kicker the last 2 years going into my senior year. Yeah. So if you ever see PFT, tell them that I'm the real Mr. 35. Like no joke. I don't kick anything outside of 35 yards, and I'm deadly accurate.
I was just gonna ask you, what's the longest you made in the game?
I hit a career long this past season, and it was actually a 41-yarder.
Let's go. All right. Love that. There we go.
Yeah.
As long as it starts with a 4, you're good. You're pretty legit.
Yeah.
See,
in-game situation.
And I got to humble him because when we were in high school and played football together, he was the holder, and then I was the kicker and punter, and I won Special Teams Player of the Year. So I basically taught him everything he knows.
All right.
I got one more year left. One more year left to chase the GMAC Conference Special Teams Player of the Year. But I did get all league honors this last year. Which
let's go! Congrats.
Crazy cool.
Let me ask you this, not to get too off. I'm just curious. Someone who talking to someone that plays college football right now. Yeah. What is it like with the team right now with the kind of season?
So yeah, we actually right now we just finished our finals week this past week, and that week is a no contact period, and then so now that we're in the summer, basically starting this week, it's also no contact for basically the whole summer. But I think I came home on March 16th, and our spring ball was supposed to start March 14th, and we basically had a meeting that day, and they were like, everything's basically canceled. Spring ball's canceled. You guys can stay here. And so me and all my buddies that I live with, we were going to just stay on campus and lift and, do our shit. And they closed the weight rooms down, all the gyms and stuff. So we basically all just went home, and we were doing Zoom meetings like this, basically doing our spring ball over, camera Zoom meetings and doing stuff like that. Cause I am a kicker, but I want to coach college football when I'm done. And so technically I'm a quarterback right now. So I do all the quarterback stuff. And so we would have our quarterback meetings, over Zoom and going over, installs and stuff like that. But yeah, it was definitely very, very different than what we would normally be doing.
So right now, regardless, you just wouldn't be talking to anybody?
No. Right now we don't do anything. It's just because it's a summer anyway. We only have from March to the end of April to do our spring season stuff. But,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm hoping as much as anybody we're playing.
I know. I want my my last year. I don't want to stay for a fifth year. I want to get into GA in somewhere. I don't want to have to stay and do my fourth year as a fifth year. But depending on what happens, we'll see what happens. See how it goes.
Hopefully we got Korean baseball back. So
yeah,
right.
We got something to bet on. I don't know if you guys are betting men, but I'm jacked up for that.
I
think they're called the DC something. I know NC Dinos tonight at 1 a.m.
Oh yeah, the Dinos. That's legit.
That's who I bet on. That's who I got tonight. 1 a.m.
Didn't rugby just not shut down at all? Wouldn't Australian rugby?
Rugby. They're savages, dude. Probably not. They don't give a shit about Corona.
Hell yeah.
I want to ask you before we, as we're winding down here, I want to ask you, you've been blogging about your workout regimen. Hernia surgery probably going to set you back a little bit, but we know you're going to come back stronger. Are you afraid that if you get too shredded, it might be what people say the Jonah Hill effect? Maybe you won't be as funny. But at the same time, my theory is Jonah Hill kind of debunked that, opened up the doors. He's kind of like Steph Curry and the Warriors. They start shooting threes. Now everyone's shooting threes. And now Jonah Hill can go back and forth. He can be super bad Jonah Hill. He can be 21 Jump Street Jonah Hill. And then he can go to War Dogs Jonah Hill, then bring it back. And he is still across the board as entertaining, as funny, as talented. Do you think you can do the same?
I think so. So with me, like, I don't think I could ever get to like super thin. Even so, I have this app that I bought this like scale that is an app that comes with it, where it kind of does all like your BMI, body fat, like all these kind of like bonus detailed stuff. And it says like my zero, like if I had absolutely zero fat on my body, I'm about like 5'10", 5'11". If I have absolutely zero fat on my body, it said I could only get to like 165. Wow. Which there's definitely plenty of people that are 5'10" and like under 165.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm naturally like I guess I have pretty big shoulders. I'm pretty broad. I couldn't imagine myself being like much smaller than like, I mean, like I was trying to say in the video today, like I haven't been under 300 pounds since I was like 17. And I'm right there right now. I was 304.5 this morning, so I'm feeling good. But I think I couldn't see myself getting much lower than like, I don't want to sell myself short. I'm going to say like 250, like 240. Cause when I was like, there was a point I lost some weight my senior year of high school and I got down to like, probably like 245, 250. And then I looked like a different person. I looked pretty thin. So I couldn't, obviously I was still like a big guy, but definitely not nearly as like heavy as I am right now. Gotcha. But I mean, I definitely couldn't see myself being under 200 pounds. I just think I would look weird. So, I mean, I'll go with you, like 21 Jump Street Jonah Hill is still funny. Yeah. He's thin for him, but he's still like a little like chubby-ish.
Right.
So I think like that's where I like to fall in that, like maybe a little bigger than like he was, like that. If I could fall in that 240, 250 range, like I would say 250 is kind of like the goal from where I started. That would have been dropping like 80, 85 pounds. Yeah. I mean, if I get down to 250, I'm still like a big guy. Like no one say if you're 5'10", 250, you're still a heavy set dude. But you're like, but being where I was at, so then I think fat guy facts and fat guy content still plays at 5'10", 5'11", 250.
Absolutely. And you feel a hell of a lot better too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm used to, I mean, there was a point in time, like when we were in the old office, there was a scale in there. There was a point in time I was up to like 370 at one point. Like I was big. So, I mean, I kind of lost some weight gradually, like without really trying. I think I definitely was like trying, but I wasn't really working out. I kind of just started like in my head. I just was like, I'm going to start eating like a lot less. Yeah. So I think some weight got off me on that. When I started this like weight loss thing, I was like, well, on my first day I started when I was at my parents' house, my scale only goes up to 330. It couldn't weigh me. But then about like, I think like the third day it could. So I believe when I started, I was around like 331, 332. Maybe it was the second day it weighed me. But yeah, like 331, 332. So, I mean, I definitely kind of fluctuated a lot over the years. But I've been under 300 since high school. So I set the goal that I was like, this is going to be the week. Like, I have to get the surgery on Thursday. I'm still going to work out that morning. So maybe Thursday, Friday, hopefully I can get it done. We'll see. I feel good though.
Yep. And we're all huge sports fans here. We love watching sports. I just want to quickly ask you about I think my favorite video ever at Barstool, when you guys had during the MLB playoffs, when you guys had to watch Ellie Schnitt do the play-by-play and couldn't watch the screen. Now, it was a Yankees game, your fans, I'm sure some people were there that had money on the game as well. And obviously,
we all did, for sure.
Stakes. It's playoff baseball. It's October. Every pitcher on the edge of your seat, and you can't watch it. And you have Ellie Schnitt, who has no idea about baseball, and it was so genius for her to do it. It was the best thing I've ever seen. It was such great content. And, you know, it's one thing if you had, like, who was coming in, White Sox Dave or whoever it was. At least he knows baseball. Yeah. Maybe you have a better picture in your head. But Ellie, she's like, oh, it's really high, it's really far. And you guys are asking, is there a commercial? That's the only way you know if the inning ends. What was that like? Was it torture? Was it literally being, like, hung from your toenails?
So for me, it was funny because at first, a little backstory, if you like, I don't know if you watched from the very beginning, even when they turned out White Sox Dave, we have this awesome dude in our office who's a social media guy named Joey Langone. Okay. So, like, literally the nicest dude in the world, really good dude. He like totally leans, so he has a really bad stutter. Totally leans into it, totally owns it, like just like he's the stutter guy. It's all good. Married, has kids, like great dude, genuinely great dude. So, but so they were gonna have him and Ellie do it together, which like sounds bad, but it was funny. But so the problem was he started drinking before it started.
No. Wait. Ev, we can't hear you. Did you hit your mic? You might have muted yourself. Hold on.
I don't.
Oh, there you're back. We didn't hear you for the last few seconds, but I think we should be good now.
All right. So Joey, like, so when he gets a few drinks in him, his stutter goes away. So he had it
like that.
I got you, Joey.
Yeah, Ev froze on us. I'm not sure what happened. My internet connection is good.
Yeah, mine too. I could hear him that whole time that you said you couldn't.
Out on me a little bit. Let's see. He's totally frozen on my end. Is he frozen on yours?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Send him a message and tell him that he's frozen. I'm going to pause the recording going, and we're back. Okay, so you were telling the story. The social media guy who had the stutter, but when he drinks, the stutter goes away. We know a guy like that too, got super drunk, senior party, was like, I was so blacked out last night, my speech impediment went away. It's the funniest thing ever. But anyways, yeah, saying him and Ellie were doing it for the game.
Yep, so they were doing it, and then so obviously his stutter's gone, and he knows baseball really well, so he's literally turned on his announcer voice, and he's like, in the pitch, like 3-2 count, like put out his whole thing, and then immediately Gaz kind of goes to Dave, and he's like, yo, like he's speaking way too good. We got to get him the fuck off the stream. Like it's not going to work. Yeah. Because he's a huge Mets fan. Like he's just telling us exactly what's happening. So yeah. Joey gets booted off. So Ellie's got to go solo. So then really my approach was like, I just was like, yo, like getting mad is like not like, we can't just sit there and just yell at her. Cause then like we have no idea what she's saying. Everyone's getting all frustrated. So I kind of like, I've always been, I think one of my best traits that I've always had is I'm pretty observant, and I think I'm pretty good at like reading people and kind of understanding people. So I was like, how would I describe baseball if I've never watched a baseball game? That was kind of how I tried to like get in her shoes and figure it out. So it was funny because by like the second inning, I kind of like figured out she had certain like terminology that meant like certain things. Because she would be like, oh, he caught the ball. And then they would be like, oh, like, who caught it? Like, is it out? Like, was it? And I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, someone who's never watched baseball, like, that's just the catcher. Like, she threw it, and the catcher just caught the ball. Like, that no one swung at, or, like, swung and missed or whatever. So I'm like, all right, like, and she's like, and then she'd make these certain faces. She'd be like, ooh, no, nothing happened. And I'd be like, oh, that's a foul ball.
Yep.
And then I kind of just figured it out. So then I kind of became, like, the Ellie whisperer. And it was so funny because then, like, all these people, like, they're sending her money, and then she appreciated that I was the one trying to listen to her, so she plugged my account. So by the time I got my phone back, they said I got sent like $400 on Venmo. I was fired up, and then so the whole game, I'm just kind of became like the Ellie whisperer. So then they're kind of looking at me like, "What you say?" for like a little bit, and I'm kind of be like, "All right, like this." And then so that was when I think I was maybe me or Marty. One of us was the person who figured out like the maybe not even Frankie said someone was like, "Is it commercial?" And that was when they were like, it's a commercial. And it's like, yeah, like get out of the inning, get out of the jam, whatever. So it was like, there was the wildest thing that I would never want to do again. Mm-hmm. But just because like, but at the same time we lost. So it was almost better to like not have to like sit there and like watch through it. But it definitely made the game like super, super long. And then by like the 6th, 7th inning, she's getting bored as hell. There's like outs happening that she's just not telling us about. And we're just like, yo, what is going on? Like, it's the ALCS.
Yeah, right.
Like, we're all freaking out. Like, we're like, yo, this is to go to the World Series. Like, we need to know what the fuck's happening right now. This is Yankees baseball. Like, we got a team that can win it all. Like, we need to know this shit. Because in my head, even though they ended up losing, in my head, I'm like, yo, this is the World Series. Like, I'm like, the winner of the series is going to win the next series.
Right.
Obviously, it didn't happen, but in our heads, we're like, this is it. Like, this is might as well be like whatever it was, game 4. I forget what game it was, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it was just such like a whirlwind. But once like we kind of got in the groove, we started figuring out. But also it was so funny because like so many things happened in that game that you like that never happened. Like I think the one actually Marty depicted it like super well. Literally, like it was a rundown. between, I think it was between home and third base. And we were able to decipher that. And there was also the home plate umpire got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Hit by a pitch. And I remember, like, she's like, there's a man in the field in a suit. And we're like, what the fuck is going on?
What is going on?
Suit on the field. Like, what is happening? And then, so, like, after another inning, I think then finally, like, KFC or somebody was just like, yo, like, or maybe it might have even been his brother, Brandon Clancy, was just like, yo, like, fucking crazy. The home plate umpire got hurt. And they're like, oh, like, now another guy's putting on gear. And we're like, yo, what is happening? And they're like, oh, like, they had to make, like, whatever, like, first base or third base, whatever. Like, he had to, like, step behind home plate and do, like, the rest of the game. Because I think the guy got hit in the head or something.
Right.
So we're just like, yo, this is all this shit that's happened that, like, happens, like, once, like, every, like, blue moon.
Right.
And somehow happens in the ALCS while Ellie Schnitt is, like, trying to tell us what the fuck's going on in this baseball game. So that was just, like, a whirlwind, but that was probably, like, the best stream in, like, the history of Barstool. One of them was definitely up there. So, I mean, the social clips from that were crazy. So, I mean, it was all worked out. It's all about the content, but definitely never left a mess at a game after a stream ever again, no doubt.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we wrap up here, Big Ev, what is next for you? Obviously, you have the college football show going on. You're going to continue to blog, and blog, and obviously, you say hopefully there because we have all this coronavirus stuff. If, things do go according to plan and we can kind of get back to regularly scheduled program in just terms of life, where do you hope to go? Where do you, hope to grow? Obviously, the future is unknown and, things could pop up tomorrow that, never crossed your mind up until that moment. But, where would you like to be, long-term or even short-term down the road?
Well, I'd say this year, I mean, if everything goes back to plan, I mean, the TikToks are going to keep coming. That's definitely been big for me. So the TikToks are going to keep coming. Once I get back working out, the weight loss videos, I really like doing the inspiration. I love, like, the motivation. I love, like, so many people have just an overwhelming amount of people have reached out about it and just keep saying, like, they've lost weight or they've gained weight and they want to start losing weight. They've been working out, doing all the workouts I'm doing, this and that. I've got them off the couch. So, I mean, I've always had, like, a thing for that. And I think I'm good at, like, putting my words together in, like, a motivating but, like, relatable kind of way. Just because I think I've been through so much in my life. And obviously, like, I've been heavy my whole life. I know what it's like to, like, lose some weight, gain it, like, be heavy, like, all that, like, whatever. So definitely doing that kind of stuff, the weight loss stuff. I mean, once we get the gambling back, like the Barstool bets and all that was definitely a big part of my job, doing the streams, gambling content, gambling blogs. So definitely more of that kind of stuff. College football shows back, hopefully. So I'll be traveling around a ton, doing all that kind of stuff. That Guy Facts is also going to come back in some capacity, a little different format than it was. It actually was going to kind of start getting – I was, like, working on putting it back together, like, right before all, like, this quarantine stuff kind of happened. Corona happened. So that's going to come back in some capacity too. So definitely more videos, more blogs. Hopefully college football shows back. That's definitely my favorite thing I do is a college football show. So, I mean, hopefully our Buckeyes are back in the Final Four. We'll see. This year was devastating, but that was that Clemson game was probably one of the most crushing losses I've had in my life.
Yeah, that was gnarly. That was insane.
Me and Joey watched that together, man. That was
I mean, like, no one can tell me anything. That Ohio State team is 10 times better than that Clemson team. I'm not even guaranteeing that we beat LSU in the championship, but that team is so much better than that Clemson team.
I mean, all it did, it totally came down to the fact that we kicked fucking, 3 field goals in the first half.
And, 1,000%. I remember I tweeted the first drive when they drove right down their throats, and then they kick a field goal on, like, the 5-yard line, 4-yard line. I'm like, this is like, we don't beat Clemson kicking field goals on the 5.
It was just so many little plays
even
like
we
that.
Still should have. And when the targeting call was like, like, I get it. Like, I don't know. That wasn't even the call.
If he was standing straight up, if Lawrence was standing straight up.
That's the thing to me is he ducked into it, but I will say I do think it was relatively consistent with calls that were made throughout the year.
Right.
The fumble that Fuller runs for a touchdown, that's bullshit. That was the fumble.
100%.
That more than anything, that was it. But kicking the field goals, like, we're definitely to blame for the loss. Even with that, we still should win the game.
Yeah. I mean, JK drops that touchdown.
Wide open.
I hate even bringing that up because he had such a good game.
Exactly.
And we we lose that game if he's not on the team.
Yep.
He just played he played out of his mind. And just the way he hurts the ankle, he's still battles it out.
Still powering it.
Giving us 5-10 yards of pop even after the ankle. He's still grinding. I love that guy. That guy's a warrior. It was funny. I was in a tweet to him one time and he liked it. I would always fuck around a little bit with him because I was horrible at math. I put off math my whole college career. I was a 23-year-old second semester senior taking college algebra, and he was a freshman. We were in the same class. And it was crazy. It's crazy just to see him as a freshman then, and now him be on the Ravens and all that. And be kind of friendly with some of the guys. It's been crazy to see a few of them get drafted and shit. But that dude's an absolute warrior. So I even I don't thought you bring it up. I always hate to bring it up in the discussion because that dude is an absolute warrior.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree with you there.
Yeah, well, hey, Big Ev, Double Vodka Don, your wifey's favorite big boy, all the titles, everything. We thank you for taking, we did over an hour here. We thank you for taking the time. This was really fun. And just hope, everything gets back to normal. Hope, you and your family, loved ones, girlfriend, all that stuff continue to stay safe, healthy, and feeling well through all these crazy times.
It was a blast, guys. Appreciate you guys. Same to you guys. Yep. Same to the fam. Hopefully you're playing football. Hopefully you're back party with beautiful women in Arizona State. I'm wishing you guys the best. I wish I could be in your guys' shoes.
Thanks,
it's good to
man.
be young. Cherish it.
Yeah, absolutely.